Hello everybody. Here is Dr. Paul here to tell you how he makes his casserole that has zero carbohydrates and that he eats most days for lunch. First, I use 3 pounds of hamburger. I get this from Kroger and usually can get 3-pound chubs for as little as $5 when they're on sale. Stock up and put them in the freezer. I also use Kroger brand aged cheddar cheese, pre-shredded. I often get this for $7 or $6.99 for 2 pounds. Okay. And the third ingredient is eggs. And I like these Private Collection 660 milligram omega-3 eggs. I'm always looking for good ways to increase my omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. And this seems to be an easy one. They just feed the chickens foods that have a lot of omega-3 in it. So that's the 3 ingredients. Then it's very simple to make. What I do is first take the 3 pounds of beef and put it in a big mixing bowl. I take 2 big spoons and try to break it apart some. And then what I do is take the 12 eggs, crack them in a big bowl, stir them together with a spoon till they're like scrambled eggs, and then I simply pour them over the meat. I take my 2 big spoons and I mix, trying to break the meat into smaller and smaller pieces. And it takes me a couple of minutes. And then I have a nice mushy mixture. I then take a casserole dish, completely coat the inner surface with room temperature melted butter. In this, I pour the meat and egg mixture, then take my 2 big spoons and make sure the mixture is flat and level. I then take my 3 cups of shredded cheddar cheese, pour it in the middle, and then use my 2 big spoons to smooth it out so there's an even layer on top of the meat. I put it in the oven at 325 degrees for 40 minutes, set the timer on my cell phone, go do something else, and when I come back 40 minutes later, it's ready to go. Here's what it looks like. I generally set it on top of the stove, all for about an hour to let it cool off a bit. It's kind of hard to cut it into my 8 segments when the cheese is all gooey and melted. About an hour from then, it's room temperature, ready to eat, and I enjoy. Now, I know many of you will have some questions about the ingredients, so I'm going to put up pictures of all the nutrition labels and talk about it a little bit. As you can see on the meat label, which I'm going to leave up there for just a minute so you'll be able to look at it, you can pause the video if you'd like to. The important things, I think, is number 1, that there's no carbohydrates, of course. The other thing is that there's a good amount of fat. In fact, if you add up the total calories from the fat in 1 serving and the total calories from the protein in 1 serving, and then do a percentage, you find that 79% of the calories come from fat, which is really kind of a nice sweet spot. If you prefer a more lean hamburger, that's fine. Everybody needs a different amount of fat. With the cheese, the nice people have kindly put the total number of calories and the calories from fat, making it easy to calculate that this cheese is 72% fat calories. Again, you'll see there's no carbohydrates here. There is some vitamin A and a little bit of calcium, so that's a good thing. I love cheese. And finally, the low-fat ingredient, eggs. Of course, as I showed you on the cover, with these eggs, you get 660 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids. And of course, it's easy to calculate the fat calories, as they give you the calories from fat and the total calories. And the total is 57% fat calories. The final ingredient is butter, and since I only use about a teaspoon, there's really nothing but fat in the butter. But I don't think it contributes significantly to the overall meal. So, now that I've said all that, I'm going to show you a picture here of the final product and tell everybody that this cost me about $1.50 a serving. Of course, I do stock up when my ingredients go on sale. And for you guys that want to know a little bit about the macronutrient composition, I'm going to give you those numbers too. For those of you guys who watch their protein intake, there are 72 grams of protein in the 12 eggs. There's 168 grams of protein in the 1.5 pounds of cheese, and there's 204 grams of protein in the 3 pounds of hamburger. That gives a total of 444 grams of protein for the casserole, and since I cut it into 8 slices, that means I get 55 grams of protein in each slice, which is about half of my usual daily intake. I find this casserole very convenient. I keep it in the ice box, and it lasts me 8 days. If you're interested, please feel free to steal my recipe. Also, please feel free to share this video with whomever you like, and thank you for letting me be a part of your low-carb or zero-carb community. Thank you.